What up, world? I had to check back in because I did something that I absolutely hate on the internet. I hate when people only respond to the negativity. I hate when I see people who get thousands and hundreds of likes or comments, and for some reason they never say thank you so much for telling me I did a good job, or thank you for liking my posts, or thank you for subscribing to my page. They always have something to say to the haters. They always make a big, they'll screenshot it, they'll find the person, they'll follow the person, they'll look a person up and then make a whole series about people like this, and they'll respond to a lot of negativity, but they don't apply the positive. And I think that that's the same thing I'm doing with the Eagles. So let's talk about the positives. Let's talk about how we had a world-class defense all season. Let's talk about how Vic Fangio put together a spectacular style defense that complemented the pieces that we had, that put people in the strongest points of their careers into positions to make plays. And I think, again, this is another example of how in life you can, when you're not equally yoked, like we can go biblical, when you don't play complementary in your relationships and your friendships, if you don't back up or sustain the level of excellence that another person is bringing or providing, it makes it very difficult for you to celebrate the wins the same way. This year we had all pro DBs, we have all pro linemen, but if you look at the stats sometimes, especially throughout the season, you don't see a number 2 ranked defense in almost every statistical category for a lot of reasons, because the offense did not allow the defense to flourish as good as they could have. And what I mean by that is when you continuously go 3 and out and you keep the defense on the field, that pass rush starts to slow down because of fatigue. And that rushing defense that's really locked up by 2 future Hall of Fame defensive linemen. Actually, we had like 4 defensive linemen who will be in the Hall of Fame if they continue their career in the trajectory that it's going. But you couldn't see them perform at their best because they were having to constantly make up for the iniquities of the offense, even though they have all of these pieces and all of these weapons and all of these other future Hall of Famers who are just not being put into a position to be great. And again, we can make another life lesson out of this is if you ever see yourself in a partnership, a friendship, a relationship, and you know you have all these good qualities, you know that you have discipline, you have structure, you got vision for the future, none of that matters if you don't actually apply it. Makes no sense to find someone who is so great, who's so good at doing the things that you like, who's so good at protecting you and giving you the best opportunity in life, if you're not going to uphold your end of the bargain. There's always an opportunity for you to get better because another person or another team or the other side of the ball has made it a viable chance for you to be good, but you aren't holding up your end of the bargain. And sometimes it doesn't even look as good on paper as you think. Quinyon Mitchell, for example, he does not get interceptions in the middle of the year. And it's not because he's not an all-pro corner, because this year he definitely made the Pro Bowl, but it's because the other teams recognize his greatness. They understand that if you try him, it could get bad. And yesterday, for the first quarter, me and Quinyon was beefing. We were beefing hard. He don't know me or nothing like that, but we was definitely beefing because the way that the team seemed to just target him on that opening drive and walk down the field and score had me really nervous about how the rest of that game was going to be. But I had to remember that we do have this top 5 defense, regardless of how it looks on paper or regardless of what that opening drive looked like. And by the end of the game, I completely had forgot about that opening drive because Quinyon did not get 1 interception, but he got 2 interceptions in the postseason, which is damn near impossible because in the postseason, you're going up against a different type of talent. And the odds of a person who never gets targeted, being targeted that many times and being able to capitalize on it and give his team a chance meant everything. And that just goes back to all the time, a person may not do everything you want them to do. Every day may not be a perfect day. But if you understand what you're getting yourself into, if you understand the continuity of the situation that you're trying to build on, then you let a person be who they are to the best of their abilities. And our defense really was that this year. Our defense really showed you that if you have great upfront presence and your back end is linked together, they're into this together. They may not be individually the greatest DBs or safety cornerback tandem, but if you work together as a defense and you get your linebackers out into space and you do what you do as a team, you have an opportunity to be great. And so I want you to, as you look into your regular life, because football is, to me, it's just a microcosm of real life. It's just an example of the ultimate team sport. Life is another ultimate team sport. As much as people like to say they did it on their own, and you never do it on your own. There's always somebody there who could help you and influence you and make the situation a little bit easier. I want you to always look at a situation sometimes and say, this person may be doing everything for me, and I may not even appreciate it in the moment because it may not look as great as I want it to look. But is this person actually covering up a lot of my flaws? Is this situation making my deficiencies seem a lot less deficient? Is this person really covering up for who I am as a person? Because a lot of times we can do that. You could be in a relationship. You've seen it. Either you was in a relationship or you've been around somebody who's in a relationship and you're like, why is this person with that person? Like, how does that work? How did y'all even get together? Because this person's doing all of these things and you're doing all of these things and they don't seem to mesh. It's like, how could an offense be in a locker room with a defense this good with all of these weapons and not be the most scary type of offense we've ever seen? How can a defense that puts so much emphasis on details and shows you how to galvanize and stick together, even when we're not as talented as the other side of the ball, how do they outperform the other side of the ball? I remember being in college, quick story, and I remember telling this guy who I was dating. Me and this girl had been dating for months. We've been together for a while, but not to bring up her name because she married now, neither here nor there. But we've been dating for a minute, and he was like, yo, how you get her? And at the time, I looked at it just because I just considered him a hater. Like, he was a sidekick type guy, like not really getting a whole lot of play, not really making a lot of noise compared to what I felt like I was doing at the time. And I just felt like, oh, you just hating. Like, you just mad because you can't get her. Because it was understood. Like, I think he even told me, like, I tried to holler at her, and I'm like, dog, you're not even in the same, stratosphere what I got going on right now. That's how I felt at the time. But looking back at it, he was absolutely right. And not that she was out of my league or anything like that, but the style of offense that I was playing at that time had no business getting into a relationship with that girl. The type of things that I was into as far as like being outside and just being myself, being, young, dumb, reckless, just wilding for real. I had no business being with this top-notch defense. I mean, she was tough. She had a lot going for her. I had a lot going for me. I still got a lot going for me. I was a good catch, but I was not showing up to the game the way that I needed to all the time. But you really wouldn't know it because when you see us together, when you see the situation happen, it's like that's a championship team right there. That thing look good on paper. Everybody, we check off a lot of boxes here. And in the long run, it don't work. It didn't work. It was what it was. We've moved on, and life is lifing for everybody. But that's just an example of when you check off all the boxes, but you're not applying them to the other person who's making your situation a lot better, who makes the team look good, who makes the team work and run at a more efficient pace. So I just wanted to shout out my defense this year. Shout out to Vic Fangio. You did your thing. Appreciate you, Brandon Graham, for coming back to the kids, coming back for the kids and showing them how to do it on that defensive end. Because to tell the truth, I thought Brandon Graham was just here for the locker room. That man out there was getting sacks. That man was getting pushed. But you can see near the end of the season how that wear and tear and the longevity of a season starts to catch up with the defensive line, and the offense never helped the defensive line be great. They never put the team in enough consistent positions to work even better. We could get some long drives. We could manifest some important key catches or key plays and not be so predictable. That defense could easily have 7, 8, maybe even 9 Pro Bowlers on it. And so I say all that to say is just make sure that you appreciate the other side. Appreciate those who make your situation better. Even if you're wasting your situation, make sure you appreciate those people. That's all I got.